Hello, friends, and welcome back. We are back again to to talk about House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 7, The Red Sowing, here with Jared and Layla. Jared, will you start us off?
Yeah, my name's Jared. I run the Fantasy Thinker YouTube channel and also on podcasts called Speculative Speculations here on Page Chewing with some other fine podcasts as well.
Nice. And Layla.
I'm Layla Goshi. I'm a writer, editor, teacher, sci-fi, fantasy, horror fan, and secret Targaryen.
We'll have to declare our houses at the end of the season. Yeah, so this one was kind of, I think, what we were expecting, kind of a lot of setup and building up to the final episode.
Yeah. I think so too. One of my overriding thoughts at the end was just how everyone has, through their own fault, kind of moved themselves into vulnerable positions. You know, maybe not everyone, but a lot of them. So I think that's some of those House of Cards are going to fall. We'll see how that works out. So.
And who do you think is in vulnerable position right now?
I think definitely things are not going to go Daemon's way one way or another, because having killed someone who acted out of loyalty, I think somehow that's going to come back on him. Also, Aemond. Laris has got it in for Aemond, and there was a point about midway through the episode when I forget who the other guy is that was talking to Laris, but he said, "I've heard that there's a new dragon rider over at Dragonstone," and Laris is like, "That's probably nothing," but he really was just setting up Aemond. And then at the end, because of the way Aemond treated Laris has pulled a couple of moves on him, and one of them was about the Dragon Riders.
Right. So it's like, so basically both of the second sons are the ones who are in not the best position right now.
That's a great point. Yes. Yeah.
Because Rhaenyra seems to have strengthened her position with the acquisition of a few dragons here. And, but it was interesting. It was interesting how that all came about.
It did. And that's one of those moves, too, where did the ends justify the means?
That was you can't forget how many people died actually to get a couple of dragon riders. That's funny because she was still having trouble accepting just lowborn people as people. Basically, she was still having trouble with that at the beginning when she's talking to is it Mysaria? Is that her name? Her advisor. And so Mysaria kind of had to talk her around, talk her into it, and until she finally says let's raise an army of bastards, and so that that point was emphasized when you had a whole bunch of either bastards or wannabe bastards showing up to the appointment for the Find a Dragon Rider game show, and
right.
with some devastating consequences.
Yeah.
And I just had this thought as that whole thing was playing out that she was sending relatives to their death, and it was already Targaryen against Targaryen, and now she's sending these other hidden. Most of them were probably Targaryens, who knows, but a lot of them were, and sending more family to their death as well. Although I know she doesn't consider them family, so really wiping out a generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so. The way she explained it to them was, we need these dragon riders because if we can get the dragons, there'll be peace, so we can avoid war. Does she believe that, or is that just her pitch?
That's a good question.
I don't think so. I think she's more concerned about securing her strength. And then if it works, I think that's her priority. And then if it works, that it's a deterrent, fine. But, at the end of the episode, when she's standing there on Dragonstone, staring down Aemon, who had flown out to see what was going on, she didn't have like a diplomatic look on her face. She looked much more determined, and maybe a little, not smirking, that's not the right way to say it, but just a little more confident and determined.
Yeah. Well, you said Aemon flew out to see what's going on, but I think more likely he was lured out.
Great.
Because that's why the dragon was flying over the city, Silverwing, and what other purpose was he sent to fly over the city? At first, I thought he was just going on a joyride,
So did I.
And he was after he found his dragon, but then you kind of realize a little time went by, and then once you see all three of them lined up in the sky, and Aemon turns around once he sees all three of them, I was like, oh, that was a little play. That was a little play to lure him out and have a little show of power, saying, hey, look what I have. We have the upper hand now. You might have the biggest dragon still, but we have numerous big dragons. And so it was a play of power on her part. Whether or not, like Steve asked, whether she believes that's going to be enough to actually, make that family acquiesce and have her be reinstated as the rightful queen. That's, or is she expecting for battles to go down now? And does she believe that's going to be enough? That's a good question. That's tough to answer right now.
I hadn't even thought of that, and I think that's a great point, because Ulf, the guy, first you think, okay, is he for real, or is he just sitting around a bar claiming being Targaryen to get free drinks, and then he ends up over there and he basically bumbles his way into, a dragon, although he had to have the real thing to actually be accepted, of course. And then when we saw him flying over King's Landing, I thought, I frankly thought, this buffoon has a dragon, and the first thing he's going to do is start the war because he went and flew over King's Landing. It didn't even occur to me that she would have sent him, but it's still kind of occurring to me now that did she send him because he might still be the weaker link, so to speak. Like, I think Hugh has more courage, upfront courage, and Ulf just more stumbled into the situation,
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a bit of Ulf's character in the bar scenes, and he seems like a braggart. He seems like that he might be full of it. but he also had a way with people too. So, who knows how that's going to play out? Definitely the other guy, you definitely seemed like the more stoic, courageous type.
Right.
The he's strong. He's a blacksmith, and and all that stuff, and so he seems dependable. Ulf seems like more of a wild card, but he is charismatic, and so who knows how that could play out. And Adams just seems to be totally all in.
Yeah.
With, he literally bends a knee right there on the beach, and so she's got quite a force behind her right now. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I think that's great. What do you think about Jaceres? He keeps making these comments about Targaryen blood. Like the last episode, he what did he say last episode? That was he suggested finding people from other houses who might have Targaryen blood.
Yeah.
But then when he finds out she's going to, call in the small folk, the Targaryen bastards. He's like those mongrels,
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, he really lit into her about that.
Yeah, he did.
I think he's a little worried about his legitimacy.
Yeah.
If something were to happen to her, because of course he doesn't have the hair, and he forced her to tell him the truth about his father and stuff like that, and so so he has a lot of concerns that these small folk might have some kind of claim or something like that, but who knows? He's a brat too.
Yeah, I mean, as long as he's got a dragon, he can claim that he's part of the.
Yeah, I think that's her view. It's like, don't worry, you got a dragon. It's obvious you're my son. But that's her view. But as somebody who has teenagers himself, they never look at it that way.
Yeah.
They have their own way of looking at things.
Yeah, that's true. And I think they're playing that really well,
Yeah.
And all of these people are young, and like we talked about last time with Amond, working out their childhood issues in a way through these situations. So, but yeah, Jaceres is an interesting one, and the other, what was the other situation? There's so many good ones this time.
That's it. You're right. There's so many good ones. It's. I know it may sound like we just keep coming on here gushing about this show every week, but it's good. It's just so good.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it makes you think. So there was something. Oh, I know what it was. So Daemon saw his, dead brother Viserys
again.
And again, yeah. And maybe we can talk about that scene too. But we immediately switched to Aegon, who now has the same look as Viserys with the damaged skin, the damaged face. He's missing an ear now. Aegon.
Aegon, yeah.
So that was pretty clear and intentional,
Yeah.
That, but I don't know if that's for good or for bad, because Viserys aged and became ill, but Aegon, is the way he is because of, I think, family treachery.
Mm-hmm.
as well as being hot-headed and running off in the first place.
Yeah.
So I wonder about that comparison. Is it just meant to be visual, or is there more like a plot comparison there?
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, that could be a little foreshadowing. If that's their plan to have another either sick or handicapped king on the throne there. Yeah, maybe. That's the comparison was definitely on purpose, but as far as a plot clue, I don't know.
Yeah, and Laris is, I'd say, forcing Aegon to get up and walk. He's asked the whoever the medicine person is,
Yeah.
the doctor, to walk him around. So he's really pushing hard, to really undermine Aemond in whatever way he can. So I think he's one of those. I don't think he has undermined himself, the way some of the others have. So
Yeah, he has an agenda, and he's the only one that can get away with that, with forcing the king to do that rehabilitation, basically, based upon his own injury there. So, that's a nice storytelling touch there. And it shows he has an agenda that's going to that's more long term than some of the other immediate agendas that the hot-headed Aemon and Daemon have.
Yeah. The only thing about Laris I can't quite figure out yet is that he seems to be unaware of Massaria, and her strength among the small folk.
Well, remember, Laris is a noble himself.
Yeah.
So that could be a blind spot for him.
Yeah.
Or are they working together?
Or.
That's what I wondered, if they're both working together for the same goal, for the small folk, and letting the Targaryens kill each other.
That's a great point. I've kind of been watching for any inkling of, who's connected to who, but I just haven't seen it yet. But it just seems like the two most well connected, and I don't necessarily mean that in a good way, but the two who are most used to work, with secrets and the seedy underbelly of the city, I guess, Yeah, there has to be something.
I don't know. I'm not sure if the level of skill of the Whisperers has come into full fruition yet. Because by the time Game of Thrones comes around, of course, it's very high level. Viserys was the master, and so I wonder if that's a developing thing. I wonder if, I'm not sure about a deeper conspiracy. I think I would need a little more evidence, maybe.
Yeah, and it seems Laris for sure seems to be working only for himself. Massaria seems to have at least an awareness of people, broader issues, but they could be. I love that idea. They could be working together. So, what do you think about? I'm thinking Rhaenyra, but not Rhaenyra. um, Aegon's mother.
Oh, Alicent.
Alicent,
Yeah.
thank you.
I love right in one of the first scenes in her quarters, we get that little visual symbol of the rat eating something.
Yes.
And just to remind us that Aegon stupidly killed all the rat catchers off.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
You know, and I was just like, oh, that's great.
Yeah, I caught that too. I love that. It just kind of shows a deterioration too, overall. And then she decides to go out and just, I guess, seek some peace. But I was seriously concerned that she was walking into the water to drown herself. Did anyone else
I thought that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I mean, it must be nice to start a war, to have the ability to end it and not end it, and then just like leave. Be like, well,
yeah,
see you later. It's like,
oh, well, that didn't work.
Yeah, like, oh, okay. You guys deal with it. Like, thanks. I'm going to go take a swim and go hang out in the forest.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I think the episode just left her there. So yeah, I wonder if that's some kind of foreshadowing. And I don't know. She was dressed in white. Of course, those were underclothes, but still, it made like a striking scene, you know.
Yeah, it was a very beautiful scene. It was well done.
Yeah.
And
Kind of
very nice. Yeah, I mean, she was dismissed. I wonder, but you would think that, as with a lot of these characters, they would try to find some way to fight back. But I don't know. She seems to take. Is she going to take the the monk route or the some kind of robes or something? Join an order.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Like Kane from Kung Fu.
Yeah. Or like, who was that? Septa?
Yeah, scepter. Become a scepter or something. Yeah.
So, but I wonder too if she was in shock because right before she went out into the forest, we saw her scratches being bandaged after the episode out in King's Landing where all the people turned against them.
Yeah, they threw food at her and stuff. Yeah.
And that might be her first realization, that, just that there are bigger forces at work. It's not just within the family and she's being ostracized within the family or set aside. So, but she doesn't fight back. I think that is not, that's not, she's not a Targaryen, she's a Hightower. It's kind of interesting how when Otto was told to leave, he left.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't help again but compare to the Lannisters, of the other series, and both Cersei and her father, even if they were told to leave, they'd be right there. They'd just be there the next day. They're not going to give up power,
Yeah.
But both Otto and Alicent are just like, okay, you don't want me, I'm leaving.
Now, one thing I was wondering about, because last episode, Aemon said he wanted Otto back.
That's true.
But I didn't see him. But was if I remember correctly, he was mentioned briefly as being with an army or some troops or something?
Yeah, they're saying he was held up.
He was held up?
Yeah, not held up as in robbed, but like something was slowing him down. Or that's how they were reporting it. So I did wonder if that was true, or is he just kind of blowing them off now,
Yeah. I'm just curious because I was thinking he was going to show up this episode at some point, but he never made it back to King's Landing. And I'm wondering does he show up next episode? Does he get Alicent back into the fold somehow? Talk her out of her swim, and then I'm just curious. I hope they don't. I hope that's not left as a loose end, and then we can actually get some kind of closure to that.
And it is leaving us guessing because they're not showing him on camera saying, right, "Oh, I can't make it back in time," or anything like that. It's just, yeah. So, yeah, I hope the same. I hope that's a plot point. I hope it's not just a way of getting him off screen for the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he comes back too.
I think if he does come back, if he does have the ability to come back, he would bring Alicent back into the fold because that's his way. He has a lot more power with her than without her. And I guess she's been diminished a lot because she lost Otto. She lost Daemon, Aegon. And she, Aemond, it pushed her out. So she has really nothing left. I mean,
and she lost Cole too.
Yeah. So really if Otto does come back, I think she'll be in a much better position.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, I hope so. So I did notice, I just wanted to bring up last time I had hoped they would show the dragons in action more. And I think we did get a lot of that. The dragons did get some extra protein that day. So
one of them did, yeah.
But I do think I think that's important for the show to show, the dragon doesn't just show up there and growl a little bit or fly around. But I liked how it showed them as active beings, like even with the sheep, which they probably did this with some kind of CGI too. I have no idea, but we always see like the burn spots. We don't see the dragons being dragons. I mean, we see them shoot fire and everything, but
yeah. What was interesting was there a problem created by the the cult members of the dragons not wanting to participate in the choosing? They were all mad at Rhaenyra. For doing this, and they refused to participate. I wonder if that's going to be going to come back to haunt her in some way. And the interesting thing they said, dragons are the last magic, and that was interesting because it places the dragons on a higher level than the gods, really, because the dragons are so they're real as far as they're concerned, and they are magical creatures of immense power, and so it would be easy for the populace to worship that directly rather than some of the other gods, even though we know that weirwood is having an effect of some sort in Harrenhal as far as we can tell. Or maybe the witch is doing something, but there's some sort of magic going on there. But the dragons definitely have the front and center stage of magical power, and that priest or whatever he is, he seems to feel that this is it. These dragons are the last magic, and we need to respect them more and follow our rituals in order to preserve the majesty and our worship of them. And so they walked out on the queen, and I'm just wondering what kind of ramifications are going to result as a matter of that.
I like that point. I think you may have hit on that's Rhaenyra's Achilles heel now, or at least one of them, because again, that's like, so she gained a couple of dragons, but she's lost some goodwill with some very important people, just like Daemon had to kill one of his loyal people. And then, again, back to Aemond, and not that I sympathize with Larys, but, kind of humiliating Larys. And in that he didn't take Larys on as his hand, Right. So, yeah, I think you're right. I had been trying to think, what did Rhaenyra do? But I think that's it. And that's an important, structure, an important part of the structure.
Yeah. And how about that new Lord Tully, huh?
Oh yeah,
showing his spunk there, huh?
Those Tullys.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, I liked that because I do feel like we saw some of that, the reputation of the Tullys that came to be. And so I don't know anything about the grandsire, but the grandson, or the new Tully, the young man, definitely was exhibiting that, and
yeah, he showed some backbone, and he stood up to Daemon, and he may have inadvertently made it a secret enemy of Daemon, because I don't think Daemon was I don't think Daemon liked having his show usurped like that. I think he went in there thinking he was just going to run everything and everybody's going to listen to him and end the show. We're going to war. And that was definitely didn't go his way. He saw the writing on the wall and opted to kill the guy as the, criminal punishment, what have you. So yeah, that's a little bit more politics than I think we bargained for. I was happy to see that. I was like, oh wow, this is cool. This is some real political play going on here, and it was very interesting.
Yeah, I love that too. I really did feel like Daemon came out the weaker there, because even if he does end up killing the Tully lad, what we really saw was that's the way the Riverland operates.
Yeah.
That's the Riverlands operate. And so there's really nothing else that could be done, but there had to be some restitution for the brutality that Daemon had instigated in the first place. And so whoever it was, that needed to happen before they could come together and fulfill their oath, to Viserys, So he just, and even if all the, lords of those houses are killed, the ones coming up are going to do and say the same thing, because that's how they operate. So, so
Great
he
scene.
learned a lesson. I hope he learned a lesson. I don't know.
Well, he had leverage in that because Daemon needs him, so he took he took a shot. That is Oscar. I think it's Sir Oscar Tully.
Okay.
Lots of names.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised that I guess Daemon again didn't have a choice but to kill I forget his name. I'll have to find the name of was it Blackwood? So I think it was William Blackwood, but he had no choice but to kill him because he needs the Tullys and their influence.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was bested. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and of course, it all happened next to a weirwood tree.
I was thinking that when I saw it. Yeah.
And Daemon seems to be calming down a bit. He doesn't seem to be. Well, he's still Daemon, but he seems to be resigned to. Because of all the dreams he's having, it doesn't seem to be as keen as being king as he did before.
Mm-hmm. I think
it's only been one episode.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't trust that those ambitions have gone away.
I think it's his vision with Viserys, where Viserys was saying this crown is heavy and you know, that kind of thing. You know, of course, you could take it two ways. One way is that that's Daemon's own conscious, you know, telling him, you know, the crown is heavier than you think and will be more damaging to you than you think. But then the other way of looking at it is just his memory of Viserys having the crown and maybe being weak, you know, because wasn't one of Daemon's things or resentments of Viserys is that he was like more indecisive.
And yeah, he didn't like the way his brother ruled at all.
Yeah. So, but you're right. I think it's weighing him down. Yeah.
I love Harrenhal. I just love that place. Harrenhal's so cool.
I love it. I love it too. I totally agree. And what I was going to say was, I wonder how, I mean, with the last episode coming up, I wonder how or if he and Rhaenyra are going to meet up again before the end of the episode, you know.
Good question.
I hope it's a long episode next time.
I know. I can't believe it's almost over. It's like one more, that's it. Oh, well.
Yeah. So, and one other character to discuss is Adam's older brother, who has chosen the sea.
Yep.
Instead of wanting to try for a dragon. I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah. I think it was very wise on his part.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. One thing I would like to see them legitimized. In some way, you know, I noticed that Corlys did not claim them. Like he did not tell Rhaenyra that Adam is his son, and Adam hasn't said anything. Right. So I feel like that's a shoe that's going to drop one way or another.
Yeah, he did get a good job. A little pat on the back. But nothing. I mean, there is, you know, there is a aversion to legitimatizing bastards in this world, you know. So you know, it's not something done very lightly if it's done at all. It, you know, that's it fits with the setting, you know. that they don't that he doesn't do that.
Yeah.
The final episode is I had to look it up, 73 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's pretty
so
good.
It's about 6 minutes longer than the last one.
Okay. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So that gives them
They
time to wrap up a few things.
Yeah, they should have added another 15, make it a full movie. You know?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It is like 4 movies, though. I mean, you think about the 8 episodes, it is like 4 different movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. So, so all of Rhaenyra's dragons are now taken, at least the ones we know of, but there aren't any. And then there's the one still out in the Vale.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very interesting that, not Layla, let me find her. Is it Rhaena? Oh, Rhaena, yeah. So Rhaena's out in the Vale staring at the dragons burnt, the burnt land and bones. So,
his discarded bones.
yeah.
Yeah, is that Sheep Stealer? There's speculation that's Sheep Stealer in the Vale.
Yeah.
It's such a big dragon to kind of hide. Right? I mean, wouldn't most people see it like flying around and active?
I would think so. I'm surprised that Rhaena doesn't know about it already. But it seems like nobody really is talking about. I mean, it's not been mentioned so far. So,
well, the kids are being taken off now. They left the Vale now, right? They're heading out to. Were they going to Pentos now?
Yeah.
Is that the idea? Yeah. So we just saw that little scene there where they're leaving. Maybe someday they'll come back and claim a dragon. Who knows? But I wonder how. I mean, I know next episode we're gonna get probably a big finale of some sort. But I wonder how far into the future episode season 3 is gonna go after this.
Yeah.
How much of an ending are we gonna get here, and how much of a new beginning, or is it gonna be a continuation from this ending? I'm kind of curious because I know they did a time jump in the middle of season 1, and I'm wondering if there's going to be some kind of time jump after to season 3 next year.
I feel like the way the story is, next season would be the last season. Just by how, but I could be wrong. I mean, they may play that up too, and I'd love it if they did. I mean, the more characterization, the more interesting things are to me, as long as the characters are interesting. But if they delve into the characters a bit more at the expense of moving the plot along, that could be interesting.
For some reason, I have in my head there's going to be 4 seasons. I don't know why.
I think they've said 4 seasons. Yeah.
Oh, they have. Okay, all right, cool.
That's even better. That's great. So, yeah.
Yes. Well,
I have other thoughts. I don't want to spoil. I try not to think about the book too much when I read this, but I've actually forgotten. I've actually forgotten a lot of.
Oh yeah, me too. I forgot most
all
of it.
Plays out. Yeah.
There's a lot that goes on, but
there is. Yeah.
A lot. I do think they'll probably push it to 4 just because they have the cast and you want to strike when the iron's hot kind of thing. So it makes sense to, if it makes sense to push it to 4, and maybe the 4th season will be like 6 episodes or something.
Mm-hmm. I hope they do.
So any predictions for the last episode?
Ooh. Well, Cole's still alive somehow.
Yeah. I think Aegon is going to make some kind of return. I don't know if he'll return yet as king, but I think he will find a way out of bed and at least make some, dramatic action of some kind.
Now he still has a daughter, right? So
yeah.
If they do a time jump for next season, that could be interesting to see an older kid. I don't remember his daughter's name, but of course it'll be interesting seeing older kids on Rhaenyra's side, and see if they come back. And so, yeah, lots of stuff to.
And I figure somehow or some way there's got to be communication between Daemon and Rhaenyra during the next episode.
Yeah, they got that little plot point to work on. They got the Otto plot point to work on, and whatever Larys and Mysaria are up to as well. And how Daemon's situation is going to tie into the whatever conflict happens. So is there going to be a big battle? We know there's armies in the field in different places. That's the question, I guess. Is there going to be a big battle?
I don't know. I kind of think that it'll build up and not have a huge battle, but something will happen. Just some event will happen to kind of like the end of season 1.
Yeah.
But not a huge battle. Maybe still building.
Yeah, I agree. So, and I'll go on a limb and say I think Rhaena might somehow, I hope she claims Sheep Stealer, but it just seems too convenient that she has always desired a dragon, and Sheep Stealer's out there flying around.
I know, and she keeps checking out the burnt remains, and she keeps
right.
staring longingly at it, and
longingly at the charred bones.
At the charred bones, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a little obvious if she did just happen to hop on his back one day and take off. But
right. Yeah. So there's that, and I think something will come from Jacaerys again, just because he is feeling threatened. He is feeling put upon. I don't know what it is. Hopefully it's hopefully he will find peace with it. But if he doesn't, something has to be done with the anger that he showed this time,
Yeah, right.
So.
Well, the big question is, will Ulf the Dragon Lord survive?
No.
No.
I don't see him surviving.
Oh, you mean Hugh and Ulf?
Ulf the Dragon Lord, yeah.
Yeah.
He got many toasts to that name.
Yeah, I don't see them. I think one of them will die soon. Maybe next episode.
Yeah, that could happen.
I predict Ulf if it is. What, in the back of my mind, though, I worried about if Hugh's family will now be at risk once Aemon figures out what happened.
Right.
That's a great point.
So.
Yeah. And, and people, the small folk don't have a good track record of surviving stuff.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
So, and that will actually give you more loyalty to Rhaenyra because he'll want to avenge his family if it comes to that. But
Yeah.
I think there's
it could be because if something happens to them, it could be you that dies because he might fly off the handle and try to get revenge too soon or something like that. Yeah, there's quite a few possibilities with these lowborn dragon riders, and they're kind of wild cards.
They are, yeah.
Well, actually, they are wild cards, but then with Targaryen blood, they're all like, hotheads.
Yeah.
None of them are making good decisions anyway.
That's right. Number one family trait, hothead.
Yeah, they're not known for good decision making for sure. The family.
Yeah. I guess we'll see.
Yeah. One more to go.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm sad.
I know. It's sad.
Yeah, it's sad too. Yeah.
But until then, Jared, where can people find you?
You can find me at the Fantasy Thinker YouTube channel and on fine podcasts like this one on pagechewing.com.
And Layla.
Yeah, you'll find me at my magazine site, Ballady Magazine, and just I'm about to open up my personal website too. So
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, one more to go. So we will talk to everyone next week. We'll see you then.
Okay.